Hey friends, Dr. Graves here in the Italian kitchen tonight. We're making keto pizza, and I've seen some recipes online that I've not been happy about. They seem too complicated, and I'm going to go ahead and use the bread theme that I've been working with and just kind of wing it. So I'm going to show you kind of how I work in the kitchen, and we're going to see how this comes out. I'm going to roll it out, put it on a pizza stone, and then go ahead and top it. But to get started, I'm going to put all the dry ingredients in. And as some of you know who've looked at my beer bread recipe, it's got some important foundation. These flours, we've got coconut flour and almond flour or almond meal. And I'm going to start with 1 cup of each. I've got some left in this bag. So again, all the dry ingredients we're going to start all together here. So 1 cup of almond meal. One cup of coconut flour. Make sure that there's no other additives. Don't use a gluten-free flour that's got a bunch of starch in it, at least if you're trying to eat ketogenically. So that looks close enough. The other part of this is going to be the psyllium husk powder. This is an essential part of baking breads, to me, ketogenically. So you don't need a lot of this. I'm going to do a half a cup. The psyllium is what's going to hold this together, like wheat, like in gluten. That's kind of the stuff that holds it all together. I'm also going to add some baking powder and salt. And we're going to use olive oil. Stay traditional here. Get my measuring spoons. So baking powder, I'm going to do a tablespoon worth. We're going to go ahead and do a teaspoon of salt. The other part of this that's going to be really important is eggs. I'm going to add some eggs to this to help hold it together, and it'll give it some lift along with the baking powder. So we've got, I think, all of our dry ingredients in there. I think what I'm going to also do is add just a touch of some vinegar. I like to use vinegar if I wanted to have just a hint of the sourdough. It won't take very much. I'll wait to do that with the liquids. I'm going to go ahead and use 3 eggs. So at this point we can mix the liquids in. I'm going to use my whisk just to make sure those dry ingredients are nice and mixed. So again, get the eggs in. Now on the oil, almost out here, I have to grab my other can. Use a liquid measurer on this. I'm going to estimate about 1/3 of a cup. Might be able to go just a little bit more, but 1/3 sounds good to me. I've got the oven already preheating. And just estimate here. So we've got that 1/3 of a cup olive oil. Next, I mentioned the vinegar, and we're talking about, I think, about a tablespoon is plenty. So next step is going to be to mix. Probably the hardest part. I should have gotten some liquids ready because we're going to need just a little bit of additional liquid there. And I'm going to go ahead and use water. Based on my beer bread recipe, I'm going to estimate that we're going to probably need as much as 2 cups of liquid. And I'm going to start with about 1/2 cup, 1.5 cups of water. So besides the eggs, the oil, and the little bit of vinegar there, we're going to add 1.5 cups of water. Take a wooden spoon and just start mixing this. You could use a KitchenAid. You have the paddle attachment. It's going to get pretty thick, so you don't really want to use a typical just hand mixer. Alright, so you can see that that's just thickening up. A lot like the beer bread recipe that I made before. So you want this to come out like a dough that you can handle and roll out. One of the tricks that might really help you out is to actually bake this in a glass dish. So you would spread it out thinly in the bottom in a greased baking dish. Trying to roll this out with a rolling pin and get it on a baking stone, that's might prove a little difficult. But I have a feeling if we can get this consistency good, it's not going to be too sticky. Baking parchment might be the way to go. So we'll have to see how that goes here. I think I have baking parchment. So I'm going to go ahead and use the parchment paper today to at least roll it out and see. It's a non-stick. And I'm going to do it on a baking stone. I could probably play with the consistency a little bit and get this more of a dough that could be rolled out. But for the sake of getting my kids fed tonight, time is of the essence. So, baking stone. I'm not going to preheat the stone. See if I can get this camera angle down just a little bit as I work on the... So I'm going to take about half of this out. Now you can use some of these flours to work with this a little bit. And I'm just going to get the coconut going here. Coconut flour. I'm going to get it handy. Let's see how it holds up. Yeah, this is great. It's not bad at all. So I can just grab this and start working it. In fact, as I look at this now, I'm thinking I might be able to just roll this out, flour the stone, and actually not need the baking parchment. For cleanup, the parchment paper is kind of handy.
The girls let me in, but now they let me out.
I'm sorry about that.
Because we wanted him to see us do gymnastics. Now we're gonna be in our underwear.
can you
It's
guys
the final show.
you guys want pizza for dinner? Okay, I'm getting this going. So if you can
Elliot,
get
we
along
don't
for
want
a
you
few
to
more
cut it.
minutes,
Because Elliot.
I'll let you decorate. I'll let you help me top it.
So Elliot, this one.
So I'm gonna go ahead and try to roll this out using some coconut flour on the baking stone here. Not sure how that will work in baking.
Sorry. Do not put this on Facebook.
Did you wash your hands?
Yeah.
Make sure you wash your hands if you want to help me.
Then
One trick also is that you can use some olive oil instead of the flour to keep things from not greasing. But this is I think it's going to be just fine. I'm going to keep working it here. See how thin we can get it.
But then I'm going to help roll.
I'm going to let you help me top it. Can you see if there's some spaghetti sauce in the refrigerator on the door?
On the door?
Yeah, on the inside down. Can you get that jar out right there and see how much is in there?
Not much.
Okay, get it out and set it on the table for me.
Not much, Dad.
Okay.
A little more.
Yeah, we'll have to open a new jar. Definitely use some jarred sauce. Make sure you check for added sugar to your spaghetti and pizza sauces. They put it in probably most. Probably a lot of them, not a lot, but just bear that in mind.
Oh, geez, that is big, Dad.
It is. It's holding up great, too. So it's going to look a little bit rough around the edges.
A little piece.
Not right now. Let's go ahead and top this, buddy. Let's get that sauce. How about, hey, I need you to go check that cabinet for another, look for one of these. So, a little leftover sauce going on here. Big fan of this one. This is a Trader Joe's special, but arrabbiata sauce. It's got just a little bit of extra spiciness to it. Okay, but don't climb up there. Then there's always the issue, what if you don't have another spaghetti sauce? Here it is, Elliot. Found it.
Where was it? Where was
It's
it?
in the cupboard. So we're going to go ahead and add a little more to this. Probably don't want too much. A little bit of sauce goes a long way on a pizza. Take a spoon.
Can I help?
You want to grate some cheese?
I want to taste spaghetti.
Gotta get our cheese grater out.
This is awful. Just so I can get off.
Did you wash your hands?
Yeah.
With soap? There we go. Now I've got some mozzarella already open. If you want to buy shredded cheese, that's fine. They sometimes use anti-molding agents, which may or may not be just fine, but I kind of like to grate my own cheese. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it right over the pizza.
I'm gonna do it.
Hey, what kind of topping do you want on here?
Dad, can you move so I can do the grating cheese?
The grating is pretty hard, bud.
Come
here. Come up, stand up here. I'll let you do some. So you got to do this. Can you do that?
Got it.
Without dropping it? I'll hold this part. You just hold the cheese.
It's kind of hard.
Just. Okay, you want me to do it?
That thing is kind of touching the cheese.
Yeah, it is. It's okay. How much cheese should we put on here?
Do you want to spread the cheese around?
Now, we could also par bake this crust and then put it in the freezer for later. Store it between some wax paper or parchment, and then in a plastic, wrap it in plastic. It'd be just fine in the fridge. That's probably plenty of cheese. Again, this is half the recipe for the dough, so those numbers I gave you will give you 2 pizza doughs. Now the sky's the limit in terms of toppings. Since we're having some mashed potato cauliflower, that's going to be our vegetable. We're not going to put a whole lot of veggies on here, but we often like to. We're going to do some turkey summer sausage sliced, and get some oregano sprinkled on there and some parsley. Sorry, actually I'm out of oregano, so we're just going to do some parsley. Going to do some leaves of fresh basil. Sorry, this is dried basil. And then I've got some dried parsley, just a little bit. Anything to get some greenery on here.
I'm going to just open this a little bit.
Perfect. Let's get our cutting knife. We're going to want to cut this summer sausage and get that on there. The oven's ready to go. We got it on the baking stone.
I got this.
We got Elliot's assistance here. Let me get this out so we can... This is in a paper. I like this summer sausage because it doesn't have a bunch of sugar or especially no nitrates, a preservative that you want to avoid, and that's typically what's in these preserved spiced meats, sausage and whatnot, pepperoni and.
Dad, can I put one on?
Yeah, I'm gonna slice it, and then Elliot's gonna put them on the pizza. Do you like olives on your pizza or mushrooms?
I don't like it.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Let's go ahead and get all this paper off. Also, there's no pork casing.
I want you to cut it, and then I have to get rid of it.
Okay. Again, if you're in want to go faster with this, you could buy sliced meats. Again, preservative free if you can, or nitrate free. What kind of meat do you like on your pizza, buddy?
I don't know.
Okay, start putting them on. We'll let Elliot finish that up. Just kind of put them all around, spread them out. So once that's done, this is going straight in the oven, and I'm probably going to go ahead and bake it at 375 for, I'm guessing, about 20 minutes. Looking for the edges to be browned, and it's probably not going to take that long. It's on a baking stone that is not heated up, so it's going to take a little time for that. So it might need at least 20 minutes, possibly just a little bit more. So we'll be back with the finished product and get some taste tests going with these kiddos.